Welcome to the OCO webinar series. Caring for yourself is one of the most important and one of the most often forgotten things you can do as a caregiver. When your needs are taken care of, the person you care for will benefit too. Regardless of age, sex, race, and ethnicity, caregivers report problems attending to their own health and well-being while managing caregiving responsibilities. As caregivers experience varying levels of stress and burnout, self-care is central to creating balance in one's daily life and caregiving journey. Today's session focuses on self-help acupressure techniques to help relieve stress and improve well-being. This session is great for all ages and those who are looking to get relief from stress, anxiety, and insomnia. I am Stacy Chung, and I will be moderating this webinar today. I am the engagement coordinator here at the Ontario Caregiver Organization. I am pleased to introduce today's speaker, Christine Fung. Christine has spent over the past 10 years working as an acupuncturist, helping patients to achieve their optimal wellness. She strongly believes that traditional acupuncture is an effective alternative medicine in conjunction with conventional medical treatments for ailments. Christine runs her own practice in Mississauga. She has received several awards throughout the years and has been rated the best acupuncturist in Mississauga in 2017, 2018, and 2019. It's my pleasure to turn it over to Christine. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much again, and my apologies for the technical issues here. Okay, so today we're going to talk about self-acupressure. Self-acupressure is obviously something that you can do at home. It's easy, it's effective, and it's safe. Okay, thank you for having me today, and I'm going to go over a few things. First of all, the agenda here. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about my passion, my practice. You get to know me a little bit better. And also, we want to address the importance of self-care, especially for caregivers. And after that, we're going to go over acupressure. A lot of people ask, what is acupressure and what is acupuncture? What are the differences? And why are they effective? So we're going to talk about that. And then after that, obviously, we want to do some hands-on techniques. So I'm going to show you step-by-step how to do acupressure to alleviate insomnia, to relieve stress, to make you feel more relaxed. And last but not least, we're going to go over some Q&A sessions. If you have any questions, we're going to have about 10-15 minutes at the end to address any questions that you might have. Okay, so let's get started. Okay. All right, so a little bit about myself. I am a registered acupuncturist and registered traditional Chinese medicine practitioner. I've been practicing for over 10 years' time. Over 10 years' time, I found I'm a big believer of empowering my patients with education. I'm big on education, whether it's from formal education or passing on my experience, my knowledge, just informally through videos, through talks, things like that. I'm a big believer on that. And I'm a big believer on natural healing. So I believe if we have some small ailments, we could always do some natural healings like acupressure, acupuncture, massage, or even herbs to address those issues. If those measures not working, then we'll turn to medication, and that's how I've been treating myself. Myself is also benefits from acupuncture. When I was younger, I always suffered from migraines and headaches, and acupuncture was the only means that I could use to alleviate my pain. So that's why I'm a big believer on natural healing. Talk about self-education. I do have a talk every Friday night, 9 p.m. over Instagram Live. So if you would like to hear more self-care tips, I usually will pick a topic to talk about for about 10 minutes time on our Instagram, on our page. So if you're interested, you can always search us up. Our clinic name is on the bottom right corner here on the screen. So go back to today's session, one of my passion is to give back to the community. I have recently found an organization called Acupuncturist Network. Some of you might have heard about it. Basically, I guided about 50 volunteer acupuncturists to help frontline healthcare workers to do self-acupressure over virtually, and basically to help them alleviate stress over the pandemic season. So that's part of my passion as well. I'm a big believer on hands-on techniques. I'm not a lecture person. I love techniques. I'm a doer, I'm not a talker. So you're going to see me in action quite a bit today. And I'm going to switching screen back and forth from the slides to cameras, because I'm going to have some points to show you. You're going to be seeing me in action, and it's going to be a fun session. Okay. All right, so how many of you heard about Self-Care Day? How many of you know tomorrow is the Self-Care Day? And how many of you have me time on a regular basis? I'm sure that when you read this slide, I'm gonna imagine there's some nodding from your end. Caregivers, they take care of the neighbors, the friends, the family members in many ways, physically and also emotionally. It does take a toll from the caregivers. I remember there were times that we had senior members and they were sick, and I remember we were, running errands for them, taking care of them in many ways, and I do feel that it does take a toll from our body and soul. So about me time, it's important to have me time. It's important to do some self-care. Imagine if you're not taking care of yourself, who's going to take care of yourself, right? If you're not able to function well, how do you take care of others, right? So me time is important. Even slow down for 15 minutes per day, doing some self-care, like self-massage, self-acupressure, or even just being shut down for 15 minutes per day does help a lot in terms of your emotional. Even 15 minutes per day of the me time would definitely help. So let's get to some meat here. We often hear a question of acupressure and acupuncture. So what are the differences? And these terms here often got confused by a lot of people. So let's get to the bottom here. So acupuncture stimulates the body by inserting fine needles on the acupoints. Okay, so which means acupuncture uses needles to insert it into the point. Okay, and acupressure means you apply pressure directly on the point using tools or finger pressure. Okay, and I'm going to show you a model here. If you can see here, this is an acupuncture model. Okay, so as you can see, there are meridians on the body. So there are 14 main meridians connecting different parts of the body. So basically, on the meridians, there are acupoints on top. Acupoints are like train stops, and meridians are like train tracks. Okay. So the system, well, in a nutshell, if we want to talk about acupuncture, how acupuncture works, we probably would need like a day to explain it. But in a nutshell, basically, acupuncture is a stimulation point. So you stimulate the points, and we believe the surface of the skin has acupoints connecting from the surface of the skin into the internal organs through the train tracks. So that's the meridians. So which means applying pressure on the point itself, it triggers some sort of stimulation, and the signal sent from the surface of the skin through the train tracks into the internal organs and ask the organs to wake up and do something. Okay, so that's in a nutshell. Okay, so here's some more details about acupressure. So acupressure is a type of body work. So it's like massage, okay, because we use pressure points, we press on the points with with our fingers, sometimes with our elbows as well. Sometimes we'll use a tool like this. Um, this is, I'm not sure if you can see, this is like a tool, is an acupressure pen. So both sides are rounded, one side is smaller and more pointy, the other side is round and bigger. So it's a tool that I always use. I just apply pressure like that, okay? And I could use the other tip as well. If you don't have this kind of tool, you can always DIY, which I will show you a little bit later. So as far as acupressure, as I mentioned, once the pressure is applied to the right point, it has to be on the acupoint, the right point, right position. It's going to trigger some sort of connection. So the nerves, the muscles, and the connective tissues can be stimulated to produce specific physiological changes to the body. Okay, so that's the idea of acupressure and how it works. Okay. All right. So, what kind of conditions can acupressure help? Variety of things. I found is very, very effective in terms of treating hormonal imbalances. For example, PMS symptoms when the women having periods. For example, menopause, especially symptoms like irritation and also night sweating when women going through menopause. So hormonal imbalances is one of my favorite things to treat in my practice, because acupuncture and acupressure works beautifully in treating hormonal imbalances. Also anxiety as well. Anxiety, depression, irritation. So these emotional things or emotional conditions, acupressure works beautifully, and you almost feel the difference instantly, which I'm going to show you in a minute how exactly to be done. Insomnia as well. Insomnia, sometimes even when I'm having trouble sleeping in the middle of the night, I would do some acupressure on my head, and that definitely helped me to get back to sleep. Basically, acupressure or acupuncture works on the nervous system, so that's why it helps to relieving the pressure or the tension that you have, and also relaxing the mind. Another thing that's quite effective is fatigue. If you always feel weak, if you always feel, bloated and heavy, you feel heavy on the body, you always feel like you have to slow down and lie down and you don't feel motivated, acupressure works beautifully. And I'm going to show you some points that's very effective in terms of bringing up the energy. And obviously pain is another thing that we always treat in our clinic. All sorts of pain, chronic pain, body pain, headaches, or acute pain, like sports injury. Acupuncture works just beautifully in terms of treating the pain, taking away the inflammation. Okay, so let's get started. So what do you need for today's session? Like I said, this is going to be a hands-on session. It's going to be a fun session. I would encourage everyone to try the techniques, try the points on the spot, okay? The only way to learn acupressure is to try it out yourself. Just don't sit here and listen, okay? Let's try something out. What you need today is a tool like this. If you don't have a tool like this, you can always use a pencil. Use the rubber part of the pencil, the head of the pencil, or I do use a DIY little tool like this. I don't know if you can see it here. Basically, I just got about 10 pieces of what do you call it, toothpicks, okay, and just bundle them with elastics like that, okay? So you can use this, you can use a pencil, you can use a professional tool like this. And you need to be in a sit-up position, in a relaxed position. Ideally, you're in a quiet place, okay? As far as the technique, you apply pressure. You firmly apply pressure like this, okay, for about 5 seconds, okay? And then you release, and then you do that again. Apply pressure for about 5 seconds, and then you let go, okay? So just repeat 10 times on each acupoint, and I'm going to show you, okay? So if you ever had gone to an acupuncturist, obviously you're going to see them jabbing needles, and I can assure you, you would never see them holding a ruler to measure, okay? That's because we do have a system, it's called the body inch measurement system, which means we're going to use our fingers or our hands to measure from one point to the other point. So let's say if I want to get point A, I sometimes have to get point B and measure from point B, and let's say, okay, from point A to point B, you need to have 4 inches, okay? And in this case, I would never take out my ruler because I'm relying on this body inch measurement system, which I'm gonna show you now. So there's no need to read the text here. I'm just gonna describe it to you. I know the text might be a little bit more technical, so just listen to my description and look at the charts. So we called inch in the Chinese way, so it's called cun. So as you see from the text, C-U-N is pronounced as cun, which means inch. So for easier, it's easier to use inch for today. So let's say if I ask you to measure 1 inch, I'm going to take out my thumb here. So basically you take out your thumb, you're measuring the width of the thumb here. So from this end to the other end, so that's 1 inch. Okay, so if I ask you, okay, now you measure from here to there 1 inch, then you got to take out your thumb and measuring the width from here to here. So that's 1 inch. Okay. Now, if I ask you to do 3 inches, obviously you can do 3 thumbs if you have 3 thumbs, okay? If you don't, then we're going to use a different method. So we're going to use the hand. Basically, you're measuring from the little finger all the way to the index finger. So about this much here, that's 3 inch, okay? Again, you take out your fingers, you're measuring the width, the bottom part here, from the index finger all the way to the little finger. So that's 4 inch right here. So that's 4 inch, okay? Again, let's do that again. We're measuring from the tip of the index finger to the tip of the little finger. That's 4 inch. Now, what about I need 1.5 inch? Well, that's easy, that's half, right? So just the 2 fingers, the index finger and the middle finger. So that's 1.5. And that's 3. And that's 1. Okay? All right, so I would assume everyone tried it out, okay? So now that we know how to measure, let's get to the meat. Okay, so for today, I'm going to show you a few points, and they are all over the place basically. And I've got 2 points on the head, 1 point on the wrist, 1 point on the legs, 1 point on the feet. Okay. So we're going to target a few things like stress, anxiety, fogginess, insomnia, fatigue, irritation, and so on. Okay. So the first point here is called yin tongue. Okay, so this point is a very famous point for relaxation, for stress, for anxiety, for insomnia. Remember I mentioned, you know, in the middle of the night when I have trouble falling back to sleep, and I would do acupressure myself, and that's exactly what I do. Okay, so basically, another thing, Don't worry about the description, the location indication, especially the location. Sometimes it could be too technical for a lot of people. Just listen in and look at the video. Okay, look at me. Okay, so basically, in between the two eyebrows, on the middle line here, right in the middle here. Okay, as you can see the picture on the screen, the lady there, put a finger right there. Okay, that's exactly the point. Okay, now go ahead and press on it for 5 seconds. You let go. Again, press on it for 5 seconds. You let go. Okay, now you might ask how much pressure you should apply. Okay, now the pressure that you apply should be quite comfortable. You should not be killing yourself. If you press on it and feel, oh geez, I'm killing myself, and that's too much. Okay, if you press on it, you feel the pressure, but at the same time you feel comfortable. Okay, so that's the right pressure. Okay, everybody's the pain threshold is different. Some people would tell you, oh, that's too much. Now, another thing that I need to add, if you do it for someone else, you be really, really careful, because especially if you do it on senior people, you have to be careful because they are weaker and the bones are more fragile. You don't want to break the bones, okay? And I would not suggest to do it on others without knowing what you're doing, okay? So you have to get a hang of it yourself. You practice it on yourself for many times, you feel a hang of it, you feel confident, then you try on someone else, and you always ask how they're feeling. Even though on a clinical setting, we always ask our patients, how are you feeling? Is it too much? Is it too deep? Is it too painful? Do you feel anything? You always have to ask along with the acupressure. Okay, especially when you do it on seniors, you be really, really careful. Okay, and I would not suggest that you do it on others first. You do it on yourself first. Make sure that you get a hang of it, and then you go on and do it on others. Okay. Now, this point here is very, very powerful. You feel the relaxation pretty much right away. And what I like to do here is to do breathing exercise at the same time as pressing this point here. Okay, so breathing exercise works beautifully. It really resets the brain. It brings in relaxation just by itself when you do a breathing exercise. But if you combine breathing exercise together with this point here, is even more powerful. So I'm going to show you how to do the breathing exercise. It's really simple. Basically, you breathe in through the nose. Okay, try to breathe in as long as possible. You stretch it as long as possible. You breathe in through the nose. You hold it for 3 seconds, and then you breathe out and try to stretch it. Okay, I'm going to do it once. I'm going to show you right now. Breathe in through the nose. Okay, as you see, I breathe in through my nose, and then I hold 1, 2, 3. And then I breathe out. Okay, the longer you practice, you're going to see yourself breathe in more slowly. Okay, and try to stretch the duration. And you can also hold for longer, not 3 seconds. You can hold for 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, as long as you feel comfortable. Okay, so let's do it one more time. Breathe in through the nose. I'm not sure if you can hear it. When I breathe out, I try to stretch it as long as possible, and that's how you reset the brain. Now, we're going to incorporate the breathing and the acupressure at the same time, okay? So I'm going to press the point using my finger. If you have a tool, use the tool like this, or use a pencil, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, now when you do this, I naturally close my eyes because I'm so used to doing it when I close my eyes, because I do enjoy the breathing, I do enjoy the me time. It's really powerful. Let's do it once again. Press on the point, breathe in, Okay. Well, I hope everybody get a hang of it. And enjoy this point. I really love this point, especially in the middle of the night when you're not able to fall asleep. It just works beautifully. And even me time, just do 5 minutes on this point. Just shut down for 5 minutes per day in the middle of the day. It does help. Okay. I'm going to move on to another point. Okay. This point here is on the head. Okay. What it does, again, don't read the location. Okay, it's going to confuse you. Okay, so just listen to me. So what it does is to treat weakness. If you feel fatigue, if you feel you're weak, let's say if you have your period and you feel, oh God, I gotta lie down, I gotta skip work, I gotta sleep, that's the time that you need to use this point. Or for senior people, they always feel weak, they feel under the weather, they feel dizzy, they feel vertigo, they feel unfocused, feel foggy. This is the point that you need to go for. It's on the head, and I'm going to show you. So basically, this is the tip of my ear, and you're going to go up. Imagine you're drawing a line going up, and then you stop right in the on the top of the head. Okay, so hold this point. I'm going to show you on the other side. Again, the tip of my ear, drawing an imaginary line right here. Now you see, here's a meeting point. Okay, so this is on top of my head. So here, this is the point. You press on the point 5 seconds, and then you let go, and then you press again for 5 seconds, and then you let go. Okay, it clears the mind. Okay, and it gives you energy. If you want to press a little bit harder, you could, but again, you have to feel your comfort level, right? So when you press on it, you feel a bit of soreness. You're supposed to feel some soreness, and that's the right point. You've got the right position. Okay, don't be afraid if you press on it and you feel some soreness. This is how you're supposed to feel. Okay, again, let's show you again. Tip of the ear, drawing an imaginary line all the way up to the top of my head. Okay, again, this side, tip of my ear, drawing up right there. That's the point. Okay. All right. So everybody got that? Again, this point is for fatigue. If you feel down, if you feel you have to lie down, if you feel low energy, this is the point that you're going to go for. It's a very important point. This point is called DU20. It's a meeting point between the yang meridian and the yin meridian. So it's a very, very powerful point. The next one I'm going to show you is on the hand. This is called heart 9. So it's on the heart meridian. Number 9 on the heart meridian. The Chinese name is called Shao Chong. It's what it does is to obviously it's on the heart meridian. So which means you're treating something on the heart. So what's on the heart? So obviously your emotion. In Chinese medicine is we see the heart has a lot of connection with how you think, what you think, and your emotion. So if you stimulate some points on the heart, it's going to treat something here, up here. Okay. So if you have anxiety, if you feel depressed, if you feel irritated, this is the point you want to go for. Okay. So it's on the wrist, on the hand, basically. It's on the little finger. Again, don't read the location. It's going to confuse you. Just look at me. Okay, so it's on the radial side of the little finger. So what's radial side? Radial side means the inside. So this is the inside. This is radial side, and this is the outside. Okay, so this point here is on the inside. As you see here, this is my little finger. This is my corner of the nail. So it's just a tiny bit away from the corner of the nail. Okay, so this point here, because it's, the area is so small, what I usually do is I'm just gonna squeeze the little finger like that. When you do acupressure, you don't have to be 100% accurate, because when we do acupressure, we use the thumb, we use fingers, we use the tool. The area itself is already quite big, so you don't have to be 100% accurate. But as far as acupuncture, when you handle needles, yes, you do have to be specific. You do have to be 100% accurate, especially when you insert needle into the body. But at the, for acupressure, it's just a massage, so you don't have to be too picky. So basically like this. This is my little finger. This is the inside. So I'm just going to squeeze the point like this. Okay, so when you squeeze, again, you have to feel some sort of pressure. You have to feel some sort of soreness, okay? Obviously, you're not going to apply too much pressure, especially when you apply pressure on senior people. You don't want to apply too much pressure, as I explained to you. Okay, so, but when you do self-acupressure, you can feel how much pressure that you're applying, so it's absolutely fine. Sometimes what I want to do is not just to squeeze with my two fingers. Here, I would use my knuckles, so like this, to apply even more pressure. Only if you can handle the pressure, okay? Okay, so that's the point for the anxiety, for irritation, okay? I'm gonna move over to another point. Okay, this point is called Spleen 6. It's a very common point to use because it takes care of a lot of things. That's what is a very, very common point to use. Now, my favorite usage is to treat hormonal imbalances, okay? Hormonal imbalances like the period. If the period is not regulating, if you're bleeding too much, if you're the cramping is bothering you a lot. If you feel like you wanted to kill someone when you have so much irritation at the period time. If you feel mood swings, so that's the time that you use this point. Now, not just for period, you also want to balance the hormones when you're going through menopause. Okay, so when you go through menopause, when you feel like irritation all the time, when you feel hot flashes, it bothers you, when you have night sweating, that's also a point to go for. Now, for men, men also go through menopause, mind you. Okay, mind you, they also go through menopause, although not the same way as women do, but they do feel emotional fluctuation as well. So for men, if you feel the hormones is a little bit off, you feel irritated, nothing is right, and that's the point to go for, okay? So let's get started. Remember I told you about the body inch system. So this is 3 inch, right? You can measure this way, you can measure this way. Basically, this is your ruler, okay? So it's like using your ruler, you can position it the way you want. Remember, from this tip to this tip, that's 3 inches, right? So here, from the tip to my index finger right here, this is 3 inch. So now you need to use your ruler. Okay, so now take out your ruler. Basically, now you need to look at the presentation now. Okay, the highlighted part, the yellow highlighted part, that's spleen 6, SP6. That's the point. As you see, the point is right behind the shin bone. Okay, now the first step that you need to do is to locate the well, first of all, is the inside of the foot, not outside of the foot. Okay, so it's the inside, not outside. So I'm going to take out my little model here. Okay, this is outside, this is inside. Okay, so this is inside of the foot. You locate the ankle bone here. Okay, the bumpy part here. You locate the bumpy part right there. And then from here, you're going to go up 3 inches. Okay, so what you do, you're going to take out your ruler, okay, this way, or horizontal way. You're going to cover the ruler right at the ankle bone like this. Okay, now at the end of the ruler, right here, that will be the point. And that has to be behind the shin bone. Okay, so let's do that again. Okay, I've got a foot model here, if that works better. This is the ankle bone. Okay, this is inside of the foot. This is the big toe. Okay, not outside. You locate the little bone here. So on the very tip here, on the highest point here, you put your ruler covering right at the bumpy part there. Okay, now you hold it. You hold your ruler. The tip here, that's 3 inches. Okay, and then that's the point. Now you need to feel the shin bone. Feel the shin bone here, and you have to, the point is right below, right behind the shin bone, okay? And when you press on it, you feel it's very, very, very sore, and that's the right point, okay? Now go ahead and press on it for 5 seconds, and then you relieve, okay? Try to look for the sore point. That would be the one. And also there is one thing that I need to remind everyone. Is there is a contraindication for this point. If you are pregnant or if you are trying to get pregnant, you do not use this point. Okay? Is everything okay, everyone?
Christine, just with this point, we did have a question. Does it matter if it's the left or right leg?
Very good question. Most of the acupoints are symmetrical. So when you have two legs, you have to do it 2 times. Okay, so one for the left leg, the other one for the right leg. Okay, so here you only have 1 point. That's the only thing that you can do. You only have 1 head. Same thing for the little fingers, the point that we just went through, the heart 9. You have to do it 2 times. So 1 for the left, 1 for the right. Okay, so when you have the opportunity to do it 2 on both sides, you do it on both sides. You always do it on both sides.
Great, thanks, Christine.
No problem. Okay, so let's move on to another point. Another point, I call it the happy point. Okay. Okay, everyone okay here? Okay, the reason why I call it the happy point, because it makes you happy. Okay, now listen up, people. This point makes you happy, okay? Now, this point here is to relieve blockages. Okay, so there is one differentiation type, or you call it condition in Chinese medicine. We call it stagnation. Qi stagnation or qi blockages. So, which means we believe qi is the vital energy that we have. You have to have good level of qi to sustain the body function, and you also want to have good circulation going on to spread out the nutrition, to spread out the oxygen, to spread out the blood into the body. If the blockages is happening, it's going to bring you some symptoms. It's going to make you feel tension, make you feel tensed, make you feel depressed, make you feel unhappy. And this point here is to treat this kind of problem, to relieve the blockages and to promote circulation. Okay, so keep things moving inside. This point here is on the feet. Again, you do it on both feet, okay? So here's the model here. This is the foot. Basically, if you, just like the presentation, just like the picture there, you see a thumb on the foot. Basically, you're going to use your thumb to feel the point, okay? So this is my thumb. I'm placing it between the big toe and the second toe. I'm going to slide my thumb, keep sliding until I feel the bump, until I feel the slope of the foot, okay? And I'm going to stop right there, okay? So as you see on the diagram on the presentation, the point is in between the two toes, the big toe and the second toe, and then it's closer to the meeting point there. Not quite to the meeting point, but close to it. So as you glide your thumb up on the foot, as soon as you start feeling the slope, you stop right there, and that would be the point. Now, again, if you press hard, you're going to feel very, very, very sore, and that's the right point. Okay, I'm going to show you the point right on the model here. If you can see it, it's where the tip is. Okay, so not too high, not this point, it's down here. Okay, so the best way to find this point is to feel it using your thumb. Okay. Again, what it does is to make you feel happy. Okay, it is a happy point, and it's also a very common point to use when the period is not regulated. Let's say if you're waiting for your period and you feel it, but it's still not coming, and you feel irritated on those days, you're waiting for it, waiting, and it's still not coming. That's the point that you need to use, and it works beautifully. Now, one thing that you need to pay attention, there is a contraindication as you see the red text here on the screen. Do not use this point if you are pregnant or if you are trying to get pregnant. So after ovulation, you do not use this point. Okay. Now, this point also works on headaches. If you have headaches triggered by the period, you can use this point for headaches. And let's say if you have headaches, due to stress, I'm going to show you a bonus point, okay? And this bonus point works also very well together with liver 3, okay? So it's basically on the temple right here. If you have a tool like this or using just a pencil, just press on the point for 5 seconds. You feel the soreness, you feel it's very, very deep. That's the point. And then you release, and then you press it again, hold for 5 seconds, and then you release. Okay, so that's a bonus point for you to treat headaches. That's pretty much it for the points. Okay. So acupuncture and acupressure works in many ways. Pain relief is a big thing. It's a very famous to use acupuncture to treat pain or all kinds of pain. And acupuncture or acupressure works beautifully in terms of immunity boosting. So let's say if you always have low immunity, if you always get sick, always feel down, always feel low energy, acupuncture or acupressure works beautifully. Hormonal imbalances as well, allergies, seasonal allergies, insomnia, anxiety, stress, depression, all works beautifully using acupuncture or self-acupressure. I highly recommend that you utilize today's session as a starting point to do some self-care at home. It's easy to follow, it's safe, there's no cost to you. So I really highly recommend that you use 5-10 minutes each day to practice on yourself, to treat yourself. Our clinic is in Mississauga. If you would like to have some acupuncture done on a clinical setting, you're always welcome to come in. We have a website here, we have Facebook, we have Instagram. We also have a Friday night talk every Friday, 9 o'clock at night on Instagram Live as well. So if you'd like to know more about self-care tips, we usually pick a topic to talk about on every Friday. So you're welcome to come in, follow us, please. So we're wrapping up. And thank you for coming again. And I really hope that you enjoyed the session. I really hope that you learned something that you could use on a daily basis.
Thanks, Christine. I really appreciate your patience in working through our tech issues and troubleshooting and sharing some really helpful information on acupressure.